acronym for Down Under. The Manhattan Bridge overpass sits between the Brooklyn Bridge, Bridge Street, York Street, and the East River. The area used to be known as Gareville. It encompasses two sections, one located between the Manhattan and Brooklyn bridges, which connect Brooklyn to Manhattan across the East River, and another that continues east from the Manhattan Bridge to the Vinegar Hill area. The neighborhood is bounded by Brooklyn Bridge Park to the north, the Brooklyn Bridge to the west, Brooklyn Heights to the south, and Vinegar Hill to the east. Dumbo is part of Brooklyn Community Board 2. The area was originally a ferry landing, characterized by 19th and early 20th century industrial and warehouse buildings, Belgian block streets, and its location on the East River by the imposing anchorage of the Manhattan Bridge. The entirety of Dumbo was bought by developer David Waylandas and his company Two Trees Management in the late 20th century, and remade into an upscale residential and commercial community, first becoming a haven for art galleries, and currently a center for technology startups. The large community of tech startups earned Dumbo the nickname of the center of the Brooklyn Tech Triangle. In that time, Dumbo had become Brooklyn's most expensive neighborhood, as well as New York City's fourth richest community overall. This is owing in part to its large concentration of technology startups, its close proximity to Manhattan, and its large number of former industrial buildings that have been converted into spacious luxury residential lofts. The neighborhood is the corporate headquarters for e-commerce retailer ETSE and home furnishing stores company West Elm. Brooklyn has some of New York's most exciting sights and neighborhoods. One of the most famous, Dumbo, has earned quite the fan base, partially due to its catchy name. This waterfront neighborhood has a rich and fascinating history, plus a lot of things for visitors to enjoy. In this post, I'll take you on a deep dive into Dumbo and everything the area has to offer, including the picturesque Brooklyn Bridge Park. Brooklyn's Dumbo neighborhood might be small, but that doesn't take away any of its charm and character. Even the name itself is a kitschy acronym standing for Down Under Manhattan Bridge Overpass. The exact boundaries of the area are always up for debate, but most people consider Dumbo to be between the Manhattan Bridge and Brooklyn Bridge and as far east as Vinegar Hill. There are two ferries that bring you directly to Brooklyn Bridge Park, the NYC Ferry and the Governor's Island Ferry. The Governor's Island Ferry only operates on weekends, but it brings you back and forth from Governor's Island to Pier 6 at Brooklyn Bridge Park. If you have plans to visit the Governor's Island for the day, this is an easy way to add the park and Dumbo to your visit. Tickets can be bought online and at the vending machine. The NYC Ferry is a transportation service that costs only as much as a subway swipe. There are various routes throughout New York Harbor. To get to Brooklyn Bridge Park/Dumbo, you'll want to take the South Brooklyn, or Yellow, route from Pier 11 at Wall Street, Oregon, the Corlears Hook Ferry Terminal in the Lower East Side. From Corlears Hook, the first stop is Pier 1 Dumbo and the northern end of Brooklyn Bridge Park. From there, the ferry will stop at Wall Street and then at Pier 6, the southern end of the park. In this video you can see spectacular water views in New York City, including 3 ferries: Roosevelt Island, Dumbo, and Battery Park Ferry. Please enjoy stunning views of the Hudson River and East River. Roosevelt Island is an island in New York City's East River, within the borough of Manhattan. It lies between Manhattan Island to the west, and the borough of Queens, on Long Island, to the east. Running from the equivalent of East 46th to 85th Streets on Manhattan Island, it is about 2 miles. That was a lovely walk around the island. The tramway is a great way to get there and leave by the subway. Take the Roosevelt Island tramway over the East River for a unique perspective on the city. Once closed to the public, today Roosevelt Island is home to a residential community and a few parks and landmarks. At the island's southern end, the Lewis Kahn designed Franklin D. Roosevelt Four Freedoms Park offers public programming and family-friendly events. Also in the historical vein, the Renwick Ruin, a former smallpox hospital, the Octagon Tower, the remnants of an insane asylum, and, on the northern tip, a 19th-century lighthouse anchoring a park from where visitors can get wide-angle views of NYC. Not just for fans of FDR, Roosevelt Island has something for anyone looking for views of Midtown, and the peace that comes from green spaces surrounded by water. If you are a fan of the man, make a pilgrimage to the tip of the island and Four Freedoms Park. Roosevelt Island Ferry and Tramway. Roosevelt Island Tramway is an aerial tramway in New York City that spans the East River and connects Roosevelt Island to the Upper East Side of Manhattan. The tramway is the first commuter aerial tramway in North America, having opened in 1976. Since then, over 26 million passengers have ridden the tram. A single ticket to ride the Roosevelt Island cable car is $2.75, the same as it is to enter the New York subway. If you plan to use public transportation regularly to get around the city, card valid for the subway, bus, and Roosevelt cable car. Roosevelt Island's biggest transportation attraction is the Roosevelt Island tram. For the price of a Metro card swipe, you can rise 250 feet above the East River and be transported